Hi, Lauren. Hi, guys. Just waiting for Scarlet. Just waiting for Scarlet, guys. It's always so awkward until the other person joins. Just staring at you all. I wish I knew some magic tricks or tell you some jokes. But I don't even know any jokes. Here she is. Hi! I've literally just been sitting on there like a statue, just waiting for you to join. Everyone's waving, and I'm like, this is awkward, isn't it?
I saw you live, and I was like, I might make her squirm for a little bit longer.
All that has happened in these lives is people have just trolled me mercilessly.
Rinse you.
On every single one, there's been one extremely inappropriate person. So maybe we'll have one of those today asking
That's
us
me every time, babes. That's
very inappropriate questions. How's it going?
I'm so sick of lockdown.
See, I've only just found my lockdown groove. Like, all of a sudden, I've got the motivation to train. And I've counted my macros for 2 days, which everyone else would be like, 2 days, but they don't know what a pig I am. So yeah, I feel like
I've seen the dominoes. I've seen your dominoes.
See, I'm a flexible dieter, Scarlett. I don't know what you're saying.
I love it.
I'm really lucky. I can tolerate quite a lot of food before I start putting on weight, to be honest. So, but don't have any muscle, do I? Yeah. Yeah, but you've got the muscle genes. I've got the skinny genes.
I got genes, but I got chub genes.
We can have a baby together and make one that actually is just
a hybrid of just muscle and skinny.
The perfect competitor.
Brilliant.
So, how are you finding training at home? Because you are still making progress by the look of your check-ins.
So, I said on my last post, like one of my most recent posts, that like my training, I've been like okay with equipment. Like I've not had a bar until yesterday.
Yeah.
I've had dumbbells, but because I work in a PT studio, I've had stuff to take away. So I've got a couple of dumbbells. I've got all the bands in the world.
Yeah.
So it's been okay. I think like with my coach, it's just been a case of like we have to maintain as much muscle as possible. So as long as we're stimulating enough. My food, we initially dropped my food quite low, and then we've slowly started to build that up. My body's not, I don't know why it's doing what it's told. It never normally does, but at the moment,
I know what you mean.
It's crazy.
Me and my coach for the first like 4 weeks of lockdown were like, what's happened? Like, I still look on track. Like, I wasn't training. I wasn't eating like what I'm meant to be eating. I was holding for a really long time until only the last couple of weeks. I think I look like I've lost some muscle, but I might just be flat. So I just need to get a pump back on. So I got some complete strength pump actually. It'll be my 3rd day.
It's me wearing a red con top.
Yeah. Oh wait.
The whole Instagram like this.
Jodie and I have a joke about, she always turns up to train in a complete strength t-shirt, and I'm like, excuse me, are you a sponsored athlete by any chance? And she just goes around the gym, look, she's written it, CS Jodie, guys. Although today we're using CS Scarlet, okay?
Obviously. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I've only used it for 2 days. I really like the taste. It's a bit gritty, but I don't mind that.
A little bit gritty.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. And I've been using Calm as well, which has been a godsend, because although I don't feel less anxious, but my resting heart rate is lower, so it's doing something for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I find as well when I take Calm, because I take Calm post training and pre-bed.
Yeah,
I take it twice, and for me, like, I'm quite an anxious person anyway. But like you, like, I don't notice that I'm less anxious. I just notice I'm a bit more zen. Like, I can switch off easier, rather than like, oh, I feel so much better today. It's not that. Yeah,
it's definitely not a magic pill that's going to make you just not have anxiety anymore. Yeah, but I think that's why we actually do quite well in competing, because we are anxious, and you can channel all of that angst, right? I channel all of my mental health into my training. So I'm having some banging sessions right now.
At least you've got basically a gym at yours.
Do you know what? I still, no matter how much equipment you have, it doesn't give you the motivation to train. Like being in the gym, it's the environment, right? So I was saying, even, you know, when I see you in Kings and we both look like we're going to die. I mean, literally when you were on prep last time and your soul has lost your body, but the environment keeps you going and you keep smashing your training because everyone around you is just so inspiring. And then I'm literally in my back garden and my cats don't care that I'm training. So they're like getting under the bar. I'm squatting and they're fucking walking in and out of my legs. And I'm just like, Christ alive. But for some reason, my cats can open the door. Like,
what are you feeding them?
Yeah, they just open the door. So even in the middle of the night, I lock them out of the bedroom. I just wake up with them on top of me and I'm just like... But that's the most action I've had in a while, so...
Mate, this whole lockdown, what is life? Like, what is life?
I tell you what, Boris is the biggest cock block I've ever known in my life. So let's get chatting about, so I've had a lot of questions actually about female muscle, let's call it.
The female
and obviously we are both, we're very different sizes, and I still get, I mean, I'm much smaller than you, much less muscle, and I still get people thinking they can comment on it, or even making shit comments to me in the supermarket queue about looking like a man. So many men, or so many women as well, you'll never find a man looking like that. And obviously you've taken it to the next category of figure. How do you find that? Like, do people think that they can just comment on your physique? Do you get any negativity? Like,
I mean, I think, like, yeah, basically, in short, for sure. When I started competing, I never had intention to go to figure. That was never what I wanted to look like. But
did you start in bikini?
I did junior bikini in 2015, like a little baby, just fresh out of ballet as well. I had zero muscle on my body. I looked awesome.
Me too.
I looked so good.
What federation did you start with?
UKBFF.
Oh yeah, of course, because we had no muscle.
Exactly. It was just look as anorexic as possible
on
stage and pretend you know what you're doing when you pose. I think I've got some god-awful pictures of myself.
You remember UKBFF actually film it as well? I've got a video of myself, just an awkward giraffe on stage. Like, oh my God, it's so cringe.
I think I was standing in my front pose with my leg. I was basically in the splits. Like, I don't know what I thought I was doing.
I literally have pictures of me. I've got pictures of me just standing straight on stage. Like, what the fuck? I haven't got any hips.
Like
so it's not like I could get away with it. Yes.
With the occasional hand pop on the hip.
Oh, bless you.
So because I started in bikini, I kind of came into this industry with an eating disorder. So all I strived my whole life to be was skinny. Yeah. So for me, starting bodybuilding, it was a whole kind of different mindset. It was weird. And then I think in the ballet world, I was constantly bashed for how I looked because I was a little bit muscly. Like, I am just predisposed to be muscly.
Yeah.
So I was constantly bashed for it. And I think as soon as I started lifting, and then I did my first show like 3 months later, and I thought I was a bodybuilder, I was like, do you know what? Like, I think I placed 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. And I was like, do you know what? I quite like this gig. And after my first show, because of the shit show that I had with food, I rebounded massively. I just ate shit. And I got really, really, really big. I think I went from 52 kilos to 80 in about 2 years.
We've got such similar starts to our story, because I
started at a terrible point in your life and then just making it worse.
Yeah, but I didn't train either, so I just got fat. I didn't grow any muscle.
See, I think that's what kind of propelled me into like being bigger, because where I've binged so hard and I had 2 years off, I wanted to grow muscle, but I didn't actually know the extent in which I was going to grow.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, like I ate a lot of protein and I ate a lot of carbs, but most of it was shit. Like, a lot of it was a lot of Dominoes.
Yeah.
And then luckily, I had a lot of body fat. Like, there's some photos on my gram where it's just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But with that came growth, like lean tissue. So I basically accidentally got quite big. And then I hated myself at 80 kilos. I really, really hated myself. And then my coach at the time was like, why don't we cut you down and then let's try fitness because of your ballet background.
Yeah.
Which is the one where you do routine.
Yeah.
And then I think my confidence grew. Not the more successful I got, but a lot of people in the industry were very appreciative of, oh my God, you look really good. Genetically, you've got a massive back, you've got a tiny waist, your legs are like pretty okay. And I think the more I heard that, the more I started to like my look. But then obviously, like you say, with that, men would comment, mostly men, women not so much. Women are more kind of nicer about it.
Yeah.
Whereas men are like, oh my God, you look like a bloke. And I'm just like, you're all just jealous anyway, because you can't put on any ounce of tissue because you're a lazy bastard. But I think I just block it out. Like, I don't care because I like how I look. And like most of the time, men that, even from like a personal point of view, like I wouldn't date a guy that doesn't train because I don't find that attractive anymore. So 9 out of 10 times, the people that I'm attracted to train. So they like how I look.
I tried in the last year to date people for their personality. That went well. And some of them didn't train that much, or they don't bodybuild, you know, they have different interests. And the ones that don't bodybuild did not make me feel good about my body. And literally a few months ago, I was seeing someone, and he's a runner. He called my body solid.
A runner.
When I said, like, is you know, it wasn't quite working between us physically, and I said, like, is there a problem? And he said, well, you're just a bit solid. And I literally was at the end of my off season before this prep, and I was just like, and you know, half of me is like tapping myself on the back, like, yeah, girl, you are solid. That's what you've been training for all year. You know, I took a year off to grow. And then the other half of me, which is the side that society says I should look like, was like heart in my stomach, like, oh my God, like I look masculine, like, and I've got a very feminine figure still, but it was preference, right? It's personal preference. It's nothing that, but it really made me realize that it's going to be very difficult for me to date the kind of guys that I might have dated before. I got more solid.
I like
well, it's so solid
and toned.
Now I'm really happy that I am solid, right? It means that my hard work is paying off. But just in dating in particular, I find it really difficult to be with someone that doesn't lift. And they also just need to understand how much time we're going to dedicate to prep as well, right? My ex-boyfriend for my last season, he could only really see me if he did my cardio with me, or we trained together. I mean, we never trained together because we just argue, but yeah, he'd have to come and do cardio with me if he wanted to see me, because I had to grind in my last prep.
Like that's selfish anyway. Like, there's no time for anyone else.
Yeah. But yeah, I can remember being in Lidl, and it was the summer, because I only ever prep for the end of the season. And my back is quite ripped, to be honest, even when I'm not lean.
You have it back all the time.
Yeah, my back is my thing. And then some guy literally was waiting for me to go to the next till, but I was on my phone, obviously. I was probably on Instagram. And he made a comment about, well, come on, for fuck's sake. And then said something about looking like a man, because I get a very lean upper body. And obviously that's when your delts come out, isn't it? And I literally was like, did he just say that? You know, like, what? But people think they can comment on you, but they would never do it if you were fat.
No, oh God, you can't fat
When
shame
I
anyone.
got fat, nobody told me. It was when I realised that I had got really big. I put on about 20 kilos and I was just like, it didn't suit my frame at all. I wasn't training, so it was actually fat. And nobody told me I was fat until I was like, fuck me, I'm big. I need to lose some weight. And they were all like, yeah. And I was like, why didn't you fucking tell me? Why didn't you tell me? But people are very, very quick to tell me when I look too shredded or too lean or I look ill, like, why are you doing it? It's unhealthy, you know, for prep. Because it's not a desirable look. I don't like my prep body for day to day. It is a tool for my sport, right?
Yeah.
But I do like having muscle. And, some people just don't accept that we want to do that with our body.
Yeah,
I do get so many people that have said to me, why are you doing this to yourself? Because I'm morphing myself out of my natural shape. But not that far out. I mean, come on. That Wailing is my cat, by the way. I've literally locked him out of the bedroom and now he hasn't taken a breath for 20 minutes.
Let him in.
No way. They have been terrorising me all morning. The garden door is open. They can go and sunbathe.
Yeah, it's true. Get outside.
How did your friends from before, so especially because you had a ballet background, right? So everyone must have been super tiny.
Yeah.
How did they like feel, or did they ever comment, or what were their views on you moving into bodybuilding?
I think like moving from ballet, because a lot of that was abroad. So my friendship group was like, I mean, I grew up with these girls because like you go to ballet school, which is boarding school. So we all grew together from like 11. And then I eventually left and everyone kind of parted ways and went everywhere. So you kind of lose that like consistent connection with these girls anyway. Like you catch up and stuff. But I never really saw anyone. And then, I mean, it's weird that you say that because we had like a reunion, like I was on prep. So it would have been like summer last year. And I remember they all follow me on Instagram. Like we all catch up. They know I'm the size that I am. But when we met up, they were like, fuck me, like you are huge. And I'm just like, thanks. Like for me,
yeah, I am.
Flexing. Like, yeah, touch your muscles. I'm like, stop being weird. Yeah. But for them, it's one extreme to the other. So I think it's more weird for them because they're not used to, like even the guys in the ballet world, they're not big. They're actually tiny. They're like lean, but they're lean with no muscle. But they were never negative towards it. I think that's because they're friends as well, because like we've grown up together. They would never ever voice their negative opinion. They don't understand it. They don't get it. They think it's probably a bit weird.
I mean, it is a bit weird, isn't it, what we do? Like starving ourselves for just 20 weeks and then putting the tiniest little sparkly thing on that is so expensive. And painting ourselves in creosote.
And having like no confidence in yourself anyway, so you're like, you know what, I'm gonna stand half naked on stage and just try and make that confidence so much better.
And then spending about 8 months hating your body and then like it for about 2 weeks after. Of prep.
You like your stage time for about 5 minutes, but then you're probably going to come off and moan about that because it went too quick or the lighting was shit or my town was broke, whatever. But no, like those kind of guys, I think it's just ignorance. They don't know. So but I was just thinking when you were saying about like the guy thing, like this is going to come across really big-headed, but I'm not at all. I think a lot of people are scared of me because of the way I look.
Like,
I don't get that many comments. Not really. I get people stare all the time. And I mean, you live in London as well. Like people wolf whistle all day long and they beat their horns and I'm like, have you never seen a girl with legs that aren't like this ever? Like, come on, guys. But then in my head, I look normal and I'm not. But I feel that is actually quite a big. Quite a big point of that is you are who you hang out with, right? That's your normal. And our normal is a lot of other competitors, right? Because I suppose, especially London, anyone that competes knows each other because there's not that many decent gyms to go to. So we all end up at Muscleworks or King's, and that's how we all become friendly. And it's just normal.
No
matter what size you are, it's normal.
Well, whereas when I first started and I hadn't made my community yet, I was just surrounded by all my party friends, and they just did not understand what or why I was doing it. And maybe I didn't know why either at first. It was just like, yeah, I'm going to do a show. My PT was just doing one. He was like, why don't you do it too? I've been training for 3 months. You can imagine how skinny I was. But as ever, UK BFF, I came second because they like skinny.
Skinny mini.
And then it gets, you know, once you've got that trophy in your hand, it's very addictive.
It lights the fire up for sure. And
yeah.
then you want more.
And people, I was the same as you. I've naturally got a very wide back spread and a very small waist. I don't have the legs, sadly, but we're working on that. But to be told that you're quite like genetically predisposed to the sport, I was like, yeah. Like, I don't struggle in prep like some people because I do lean up. I struggle in off season. I'm freaking exhausted and so sore. But yeah, I do think that it definitely, now I hang out with a lot of other competitors. My idea of normal is us, you know, like, and not just
it's not the norm,
just
but
people that train. Yeah. And I actually was training with one of my friends not long ago, and I grabbed her bum and I was like, oh my God, it's soft, like it jiggles. So I was like, come here. And I'm like jiggling her bum cheeks because I only feel competitors' bums. I mean, I don't know why I go around grabbing so many
I
all the time.
I'm
a bit of a sex pest by the sounds of things.
Do you have a problem?
I'm so used to little muscly hard bums, and then this was just like a very feminine womanly bum. But it feels completely different, and it made me then realize that that is why I think that my body's normal. When I'm lean, I'm surrounded by it, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're surrounded by men that actually applaud it as well, you know. Like, we'll go to the gym and go to King's, and you get nothing but praise from the guys, but they're praising your hard work rather than what you look like specifically, aren't they? They know how hard you're working. And I think
most of the time it's not. I mean, you get it in some gyms, like especially like gyms like King's, Muscle Works and stuff, like you're going to get stared at. You're probably the minority in there being a female, but most of the time, I remember when I first went to Muscle Works, I was a little bit intimidated, and I've been training for a while. Like, I don't get intimidated.
Yeah.
But I think if you're going into a spit and sawdust bodybuilder gym where it's just men and one woman maybe, at first I was a bit like meh. But most of the time, I'd probably say like 95% of the time, the men in there are lovely. They're not there kind of looking at you going like, or whatever. They're just like, you know what, like, kudos to you. And especially when I won my pro cards, when I went back, and I was still really lean, and still living on fucking cloud nine because I didn't know what day it was. And then I was trying to train, and people kept coming up to me being like, congratulations, well done. And the amount of people that were guys that came up to me and said, like, without sounding weird, I've watched your whole journey in the gym. I've never spoken to you because you're on prep, but I've watched your body transform. And they were like, I know it's not for a lot of people, but Jesus Christ, like, that was impressive. Like, it was so motivating to watch. So I think in our little world, we get a lot of attention. And I think that also, like, boosts my body image. Like, I actually couldn't give a shit if someone comments now, because I like how I look. And I know, like you say, genetically, I'm predisposed to probably look and do quite well at bodybuilding eventually. And then also my body confidence coming from skinny mini ballet girl that was always told, you're too fat, you're too fat, you're too fat, you're too muscly, to now kind of be praised for how I look constantly. It's an ego boost. So I love how I look. And if anyone says otherwise now, like you, I'm just like, that's your opinion. I don't care.
Do you have like
and I don't have
any
tips
for girls that are struggling with their body image? Because I know from my own point of view, the first year that I started to actually build a decent amount of muscle, the first year I got delts, I was still off season, right? So still had all the fat over it. I just felt hefty, you know, like I felt really butch. Whereas now, no matter what time of year it is, lean or off season, I want the delts, man. And I want them to be as big as fucking possible. But that first year that I was really uncomfortable with my body changing, because especially I started really late, right? I didn't start training until I was like 31, 32. So it was like, I've had this body, the same body, my entire adult life. And it's only at about 35 that it started to really change, because I put a couple of years of work in. And now I don't recognize myself as to who I was 5 years ago, because my body's completely different. I look better, in my opinion. But I'm sure there's some people that I went to school with or something that are literally like, she's what? She's a bodybuilder.
Bodybuilder?
A what? How did you kind of mentally transition from that kind of ballet body into the physique you have now? Like,
I think for me, again, it was more of a natural thing for me. Like there was no, like I said, like it was the confidence that came with it. And like I've seen a lot of people as well. Like I'd probably say this, give this advice to anyone. Like when you start, or when you want to get into bodybuilding, or you maybe want to compete for the first time, like I would suggest don't kind of go, I want to be a figure girl. Don't jump the gun too quickly, because we're not huge. And in bodybuilding, women's physique, whatever, like if you've never trained or you've done very minimal training and all of a sudden you want to be Miss Olympia figure, you really don't understand how much muscle, one, you're going to need, and two, how long that's going to take, and three, how uncomfortable you're going to have to look to get there. Because with muscle comes fat for most people. If you're genetically like, if you're not like yourself where you can maintain quite lean, like you have to be uncomfortable to get that big. So I'd say to anyone, like just take it slow. Don't go and need to be figure. Go through bikini, go through the stages. The amount of girls that I've seen that have gone from bikini to figure, and they've gone back to bikini because they can't handle being that big. If you genuinely you have to like yourself off season to enjoy the category, because you can't maintain stage lean. It's not possible.
And we're in off season a lot longer than in prep, right?
Most of the time. And that's where you're going to be most comfortable. It's where your hormones are at their best. It's where you're going to spend most of your time. So
that's what I concentrate on in the off season, just how I feel. So I try not to look at my stomach at all.
I know,
because that's where I hold my fat. So I hold my fat on my stomach, and
I'm exactly the same.
I will always look bigger than I am in a picture, because I've got no lines in my stomach in off season. But as the years progress and my muscle matures, I'm starting to look leaner at a higher body fat percentage, and that is just patience. So anyone that is like in their year 1 or year 2, I mean, I'm talking year 5 now, you know, before I actually start to look at that same body fat that I had last year, I look completely different this year because it's maturing.
I'm exactly the same.
And also it's not going to diet off as quickly, because it is maturing and it is denser, and it is just literally a waiting game, and just keep consistently ticking those boxes.
For sure.
I think that... Go on.
Sorry.
Erin and I were literally just shouting over each other yesterday. Like,
just keep talking. Just don't even listen to me. I'm going to keep talking over you. No, go for it, babe.
I think it's really important to have a coach that can keep your head on straight as well. Some prep coaches are there just to give you your diet and your training. But then there are other ones that, this is why I need a coach. I can do my own diet and I can do my own training. I need someone that's objectively going to look at me and tell me how it is, you know? So not just, you look great, but also you've gone too far. Last week, my coach literally sent me a voice note saying, if you don't pull your finger out, you will not be world champion, because I spent too much time in lockdown moping about and not training. And she was like, you are at a point now where you can pick it back up and you'll be fine, or it's in your power, or you're going to piss it up the wall, basically. All your hard work is going to be undone. And it was like literally a light bulb moment for me to have somebody else say to you, you look fine, but... And it was like, because I do look fine, but I need to look better than fine right now. I need to be building for my next show.
And it's so easy in this day and age to get complacent. Like, I mean, my training is definitely not that of the norm. And like now, I said recently, especially on like pro female fitness and stuff, like my motivation is pretty much in the gutter, or has been until today, because I'm on prep as of today.
So exciting.
So my motivation was just like, do you know what, like, fuck it. And I've just got, like you get to a point with years of experience of dieting, bulking, off season, on season, pre-contest, whatever it is, and you do get maturity. Your muscle kind of gets bigger and better every year. You diet less of that off. Your body fat tends not to go back as high, or it's easier to come down, so your composition maintains a bit better. So I was fortunate in this kind of lockdown phase that my coach took, especially after my boobies, my coach took control of my diet very quickly. He was like, because like, you probably will just not train for 6 weeks and potentially eat shit. Because I said to him, like, I can eat, unfortunately. So
I can't believe that you can have a jar of Biscoff in the house and not eat it in one sitting.
I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am. I don't recognize myself anymore. I've got so much self-control. I don't know why.
Like, because you've got a pro debut coming up, baby.
I mean, that definitely, like, I'm not gonna lie, that probably is part of it, because I know that, like, there's a lot more at stake now. Like, I can't look like an absolute spaz on that stage.
Yeah.
But I think becoming pro as well, like, definitely gave me a kick up the arse, because it is actually what I want. Yeah. And, like, I've said before, like, when I went to compete last year, obviously, like, you know, there's pro cards up for grabs, and you're not going to go, it'd be lying if I was like, oh, I didn't go and turn pro, but I genuinely didn't think I would. Like, I wanted to place top 3 in my class, and that was it. I'd be happy with that. So when it actually happens, I was like, fuck me, like, maybe I'm actually good enough to do this. And then you sit down with your coach, and because I changed coach as well, because now I'm with Rob, he kind of was like you have got the power to be quite good. And we need more time, for sure. Like, there's certain things that need to grow, and like the pro girls are, well, I spoke to Ria, and she said they're not actually hugely bigger than you think, because everything on Instagram.
I was shocked at how small people are in real life, because I see, so I'm friends with Babs, so she was my first figure girl that I saw in person, and she's so petite, you know, she's so small, but she's obviously got very decent amount of muscle, and in her pictures looks stacked.
Huge.
And then the same with Ray. Like, I met her in Kings, and I was just like, damn, like, she's also like, but obviously
they're not as big as you think.
Yeah. And then I even remember the first time I saw you. So we've been following each other for maybe a couple of years before we saw each other in person. And I can remember I was training with my friend Aisha, and you were prepping, so you just looked sick, and your back was just buff, and she was just staring at you like, look at that girl. And I was like, I know her, but I don't know her, but I'm just going to do it. Hi, Scarlett. Thank God you knew who I was. I would have felt so ashamed. But yeah, but even then, like, you know, if I saw your pictures in real life, you look as big as my ex-boyfriend, but you know, you're not. I mean, every part of you is muscle, but you're still
not as big as you're portrayed out.
Not as big as people. It's the same with my pictures, to be honest. I think people get really shocked at how normal I look in real life, especially in the off season where I'm not shredded. That they look at my pictures where I'm very, very vascular when I'm lean, and so I look even worse for a normal person, and they can't believe it.
Selling yourself well, babe.
Do you know what the worst thing is? Is when people at work are like, "How did you do in your competition?" And you're like, "Yeah, I won," and they're like, "Really?" You're like, "What the fuck do you mean, really?"
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? And they're like, "But you're so small," and I'm like, "British champion, bitch." Like, they were literally like, "Really?" I was like, yeah.
That's why I was a miserable bitch for the past 4 months.
Everyone's size 6, okay? Some of them are a size 4. I think that's another thing. Like, I work in an office, so I do get more. I'm not in the gym all the time like you are for work, so people are probably more accepting of you prepping and changing and stuff. Whereas in my office, I mean, they literally have a packet of crisps and a sandwich for lunch, and that's all they eat. So they can't believe how much I eat, because obviously I'm a Tupperware girl, and B, just how quickly I transform when I'm prepping. I think they think it's an eating disorder, to be honest.
I think a lot of people like genuinely think we just starve ourselves, because all they really see us eat is chicken and salad most of the time. They don't see the peanut butter, the rice cakes, the oats, the Biscoff. They just see kind of our like shitty lunch meals.
I did a carb up for one of my shows in the office, and I literally just had a packet of 6 bagels, and I just kept eating them, not even putting anything on them, right? Because it's carb up. And my boss was literally like, "You have eaten." I ate a packet of bagels and a packet of crumpets covered in jam in about 10 minutes, because I eat my entire day's carb up by midday. And then my coach is like, "Well, what are you going to do now?" But I'm literally like,
I'm going to digest.
Carb day. But they're so shocked at how much we eat, what we do eat. They can't get their head around the fact that I prep on so much rice, because that is what I like to eat. It just fills me up. And they're like, "How do you lose weight but eat carbs?" Because the general population think carbs are the devil, you know. And I'm like, that is the only reason I'm standing up straight today, is because I've got these carbs in me.
Because I ate some rice.
How is it? Oh, actually, do you know what? I saw Jodie ask, "How are you feeling about your pro debut?"
Oh my God, Jodie, I love you. I'm obviously really excited. It's been, originally my plan was November. And then the Pro League announced that they've moved some shows into October. So we're talking, I think it's Arizona Pro, then there's one in Florida, and then Chicago Pro, which Chicago Pro is quite a big pro show.
Yeah.
And because they moved into October, my coach just texted me literally 2 days ago and was like, what do you think? And I was like, in this situation right now, it's far from ideal. I barely have access to stuff. I have no Stairmaster, which is usually my form of cardio. But I was like, do you know what? I've got nothing else. Like, what am I going to lose? Like, and obviously, worst case scenario is the show doesn't go ahead. But I've got no focus at the moment. I'm in a good position, a bit like you. Like, I'm in an okay position. Like, I could really fuck this up now if I just go the other way. Yeah. Or I channel all my energy into making this work. So I've always had in my mind, I was always competing in November anyway. So I knew I was going to start prep within the next 6-7 weeks. But like now, like I woke up this morning, like all my meals bang on time today. Like my coach has done my plan, checked in this morning. And I'm not going to lie, like nothing's changed on my plan. I'm basically still eating off season. So I'm 20 weeks out. I've still got plenty of time and I'm not that fat. I have a lot of fat to come off, but I'm super excited. It's just a bit weird that like, it's almost like fascinating, like what's going to happen, because in an ideal world, this wouldn't be my situation right now. Yeah. But I'm almost like intrigued to see what you can do on lockdown. Like how good can it look with very minimal stuff. Yeah. And then a friend of mine yesterday, he was like, but laying all the cards on the table, like, is this the best idea? Because American people have access to gyms now. Like, you're not going to be as competitive, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, probably not, but who knows? I might kind of make loads of gains with a barbell and a bike. Who knows? Yeah. But obviously, I'm going to go in to win, and I'm not going to go in to kind of just experience the show. Yeah. But I know, like, in my situation right now, I've got to be very open-minded. It's probably not even going to happen. I'm probably not going to be able to travel to the States in October. Let's be honest. But it gives me focus, so I'm ready to just go balls to wall. And if we're going to do 3 back-to-back, then fuck it. And it's in America.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Like, it'll be
and I'm
mental.
sure you'll find there's going to be other UK pros going. I know Phoebe will be wanting to compete this year. You know, like you're not in the same category. It's even more fun to do it together.
And obviously, Babs is competing as well. So there'll be a few of us. But I think the main thing now is to make sure that you go into, if anyone's prepping now for shows in October. I know Two Bros have put stuff up for August. Like, I don't know. I've got no inside scoop. Yeah. But I would imagine that's probably, I don't know if that's going to happen. But as long as you go into your prep now, if you are going to compete, knowing that it's 50-50. Yeah. So if you're happy to accept that and you start prep and it is going to get pulled, that you're not going to be that miserable person that's like, oh my God, I'm so pissed off, my show's been cancelled. Like at the beginning of the year, fair enough, because no one really knew what was going on. But now, like we full well know what's going on. There's going to be, maybe there's a second wave. Maybe travel restrictions are going to go on till next year. I think it's going to happen. So as long as you kind of accept that, and you're still obviously, if willing, give 100%, go for it. Like, I'm going to prep my ass off. Like, I'm going to like aim to look
literally
literally have no glutes. I don't want any glutes.
I think that obviously I came into lockdown in prep, so I was already done 8 weeks. I was 8 weeks out, but actually my physique was 4 weeks out. We were going to do. I was going to
say, you looked a lot leaner than 8 weeks out.
Yeah, do you know what? It just fell off me this year. I don't know why. I was very rested because I'd taken a year off. But so we decided we were going to do, my warm-up show was meant to be today, but actually I would have done one 3 weeks ago because I was almost ready, but with a different federation. And then it would have been PCA today. And then PCA Worlds is next week.
Really? Fucking hell, that's coming.
And that was my goal, world champion, you know, like for it to be cancelled like that. I think I was one of the only people that was like, okay, it's cancelled. Do you know what though? I'm in a very fortunate position compared to some people, is that I'm lean enough to see what my weaknesses are. So I'm going to build on them. And that is why I invested in all the gym kit, because I just thought, I know what my weaknesses are now. I can't build them with bands. I need to build my glutes and my hamstrings, like, badly. So yeah, I paid for all the gym kit and then didn't use it. But I mean, now we're back on track, and honestly, the fire inside me, and I've been speaking to everybody that is teeing up now, thinking, do you know what? I'm going to prep, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And it's like, you get to peel back and see what is underneath. you'll be even better next time you get on stage.
Sure, definitely. I said that to my coach this morning. I was like, worst case scenario, we prep and I get 4 weeks out and we can't go.
Yeah.
And I would have done 16 weeks of work. I'd probably be very lean at 4 weeks out. But worst case scenario, we're not going to go. I'm still going to be relatively healthy. I'm going to have to come out of this dieting phase. And I know for mostly guys, I guess some girls do it. Most girls kind of reverse out, especially like maybe yourself, bikini girls, or straight into rebound.
Straight into a calorie surplus for me.
Normally, I'm supposed to, or I should have always tried to reverse back so I didn't get too fat. But my coach was like, if we get 4 weeks out, like we're gonna push, like because we're gonna treat you like a guy. You've got enough mass on you now.
Yeah.
That and you are mature enough physically to not get that fat quickly. So utilize that time to kind of what we call rebound and grow, like use it to your advantage. So that prep's not going to be for nothing. And then come into off season again. Like there's so many different things that can happen. And there's still a positive in every single one of them. There's a lot of negative and potential, is it going to happen? Is it going to work? But you can't, like my friend, he was saying, like, you can't let that like destroy your goal of competing. And some people are like, oh, it's really selfish to compete now. And I'm like, it is, I guess, to a degree, but like, I'm not doing anything that I shouldn't be doing, and I'm just doing this for my mental well-being. So if I've got access in my house to lift weights and do cardio, I'm not doing anything wrong. Yes, traveling potentially, but if I can't travel, I can't travel. There's nothing I can do about that. So it's not really selfish.
I mean, but again, bodybuilding is selfish in itself, anyway, right? like it's not.
How much selfless do you want me to be? Jesus.
If I'm in a relationship, especially a new one, both times I've prepped, I've been in a new relationship and I've had to just sit down and talk to them and say, look, here's the deal. Like, you're important, but this is my priority right now.
This is important.
You're going to have to fit into this. It's not forever. You're also probably not going to like what's about to happen to my body, but...
Or my attitude.
I don't care what you think. Like, I'm still the same person, albeit a much hungrier, much more exhausted person. But... I'm lucky that every time I've prepped, I've had really understanding people around me, full stop, you know, like, I mean, I actually don't say no to the social things. I just don't get invited to them, to be honest. If it's something that is purely food and alcohol based, they don't bother. If it's something more like a barbecue, I take my own food with me, you know, and then just sit with my back to the barbecue, like,
must not partake. That's one good thing about prepping now, is there's no social events. And like, because I was a bit like, prepping over summer is like the worst and best time to do it. But I can't socially drink now. Like, I'm not going to sit at home and drink by myself and have a barbecue. Like, that's boring. I mean, my mum's there, but I mean, she could just do her own thing anyway. So there's no social events to go to. Like, I'm not going to miss out on summer really, because we're pretty much locked in most of the time. So I was just
I think it's just a great time to work on yourself mentally and physically, right? Whatever your goals are, you know, prepping or bulking or maintaining or just trying to be happier, you know, it's really good time.
Your relationship with food, like the smallest things that will help making your metabolism better. Like, you don't have to diet on poverty macros and shit all the time if you've got a good metabolism to start with.
I've really taken this time to work on my sleep health and my sleep pattern. I've been to bed at 9:30 or 10 o'clock the last 3 nights. Like,
if it's 10:30, I'm like, I'm past my bedtime.
At the start of the lockdown, I was going to bed between midnight and 3 a.m. And then I wake up at exactly the same time every day, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And it's just like, I was like a walking zombie. So I've really taken this time to sort out my sleep pattern.
Yeah, definitely.
Can only help me in the long run, right? I feel like a new man. My mood is so much better.
It's crazy how much we take sleep for granted. Like, and I said to my mum yesterday, I was like, if I am going to be on prep, like, fasted cardio, I'm not going to have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do that shit. Like, I'm going to wake up casually at 7. I start work at 8, so I've got an hour to do it in my pajamas on the balcony with my little bike. So like, just sleep, and like, I can nap in the day. I'm not working all day long. I'm not traveling anywhere. I'm not going to get that tired. So
I think that's one of the biggest drawbacks for my journey has been I just don't sleep enough. And then obviously that is when you grow. That's when you recover. So in this now, coming from a prep, I went to maintenance for about a month. and then I went back into surplus, and now I'm like just priming myself to like optimize my gains, you know, eat well. I live on my own. There's no temptation of the stuff I shouldn't be eating in the house. Train. I mean, I've got all the time in the world now. I am still working full time, but I'm not commuting anymore, you know, like, and I've got no social life. So it's like,
nobody loves me anyway. You have a massive social life still at the moment. I constantly see you on Zoom.
I had to went to a rave this morning.
I saw that. I was like, is she doing a live with me or not? Or is she just going to go party?
That rave is my cardio. Dancing is my cardio.
I love that. That's such a good idea.
Honestly, and that's a calf workout as well, jumping up and down on your thighs. Like the next day, my calves hurt so much. I do this rave every Saturday, you know.
I might join. Like, I feel
it's like so fun. It's so fun, and they're just doing it online because of the lockdown. So after the lockdown finishes, they'll just go back to doing it in person. They do it in person once a month in Bethnal Green, actually. So you could still go. We could go.
Let's do it. We've got so many plans.
So many. I've got so many plans in 4 months' time.
I'm on prep, babe. Sorry. I can't go.
It's cardio. It's cardio.
It's true.
Yeah, I think that you just have to stay in your own lane, really, don't you, right now?
Definitely. I think if anyone's, like from a confidence, body image perspective, like if anyone's like in doubt, like you just have to kind of go with the journey. And like I said earlier, like don't jump the gun. Like when you start, just go through all of the processes. Don't start missing steps, and don't start doing what someone else is doing that's been training for 5 years, because like we've been saying, like our bodies are more mature now. We've got muscle maturity. We've got time on our side. Like, I mean, I'm the world's worst. I sit there on Instagram being like, oh my God, I have 100 grams of Biscoff a day. And then I know that other people are probably going to be like, hey, I can have 100 grams of Biscoff a day. And it's like, no, I've actually had to work for that. Like, that's just not been given to me just for banter. Like, there's a reason why that's there. So don't just kind of, like you say, stay in your lane. Don't just follow everyone's journey because that's what everyone else is doing. And then don't ever underestimate yourself as well. I think a lot of people kind of put themselves down way too much and think, I'm never going to be good enough. I'm never going to be big enough. I can't lift heavy enough. Like, none of that matters. Like, some people lift crazy weights. Like, I'm strong. I'm not as strong as I look, probably to a lot of people. But like, what I do works for me because I've got this big. Yes, I'm genetically a little bit gifted as well, but it's still hard work. Everything's relative to you as an individual. So don't follow what other people are doing, and then just do it for you. I know that sounds really stupid as well, but like, if you want to compete in figure and you don't actually like the look of a figure girl, don't compete in figure.
I have a friend that competes in figure, and in every off season she shreds down her muscle because she doesn't like being that big.
It's
and
ridiculous.
Then she misses competing, so she's like, I'm gonna get big again.
It's and madness.
Just a crazy cycle, because I think it is what society is telling her. She's too big, and she's beautiful. Like, it's crazy.
Sure. And people, I've seen a lot of people like change categories as well. So like someone that's gone from bikini to figure, or women's physique, and they've gone, do you know what? I actually don't like being this big, so I'm going to go back down. Obviously, I'd probably say to a lot of people as well, like, look at your genetics. Like, if you're genetically a bikini girl, don't try and be a figure girl, because it's going to be difficult. It's going to be the other way. Like, you're going to struggle to get up there. It's the same with, I guess, girls that are like naturally bigger. Like, if you've got massive shoulders and you've got thick legs and you're trying to do bikini, your life is going to be miserable. So either do figure, or if you don't like that look, maybe bodybuilding's not for you. Maybe you can kind of find that happy medium and just kind of train to enjoy training. You don't have to step on stage.
I think that Kate Arrington's a really good example of working with your genetics, because obviously she's very leg heavy. You know, she's a muscly girl. She's so small, but she's so big, and she tried to fit into bikini, and she was spending hours trying to reduce her legs down,
because she said like she used to just run so much.
She used to run like marathons to try and burn her muscle.
There's no happiness in that. Like,
and then once she embraced it and chose the category for her look, she got her pro card, and she's one of the best competitors in the world. You know, like
Olympian now,
she's amazing.
So like, definitely take your genetics into consideration, but then don't feel that you have to be forced because your heart's not in that category. Then don't compete. Like, just because everyone's competing now, it doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing with social media. Again, a chat with another friend of mine, and he was saying at the time, he was like, I'm so pissed off that this world we live in now is revolved around bodybuilding, has now become you have to compete. You can't bodybuild for just personal enjoyment of it.
Yeah.
So because you don't look like a men's physique or a classic physique or a bodybuilder, you don't fit in those three categories, you can never compete. That's not the case. But if naturally you sit in the middle, maybe if you don't like either side, just stay in the middle and just do you. Same with girls, like don't force yourself to look a certain way if you don't like it, but then at the same time don't hold yourself back from potential. If you are predisposed to be a bit bigger, if you like that look, go for it. But I say take the steps as well. Like don't just kind of go, right, I'm, especially like young girls, I'm 17 and I'm going to be Miss Olympia bodybuilder, and just do stupid things like take stupid amounts of drugs. Like just don't do that. People are stupid. Don't do stupid shit.
It does shock me how much the juniors take compared to anyone else. And it's like, it's because they're just young and they don't think about the consequences. They probably haven't researched it either. So they're just doing any old dose of any old drug. And it's like the long-term effects of that.
It's scary.
You know?
It truly is scary, like what people are doing. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm completely natural, because I'm not. When I prep, I will take certain things, but like in tiny amounts. I'd be lying if I said I didn't, and people can see that. So there's this whole different thing about the whole drug thing. I'm not really going to go into it. If people have questions, of course I'm happy to answer them. But
to be honest, I really think that is what they should be working with their coach on. You know, if you are someone that wants to take drugs, you need to tell your coach, you need to work with them, and they should be able to advise you and help you and keep you healthy, right?
Definitely. And there's a lot of misinformation out there about girls and steroid use anyway, and there's a lot of things that you should never ever consider taking ever in your life. And I know a lot of girls that have done shit, like even like injecting shit. You should never have to inject anything in your body ever.
I mean, there was one coach giving his girls tren. Like,
what is life? Fuck's sake.
I don't even want my boyfriend to take that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had a boyfriend that was like
insane assholes. Like, why do girls take those?
Yeah. I was just like, no, we don't have tren in our lives, guys. Like, never ever.
It baffles me. So I think as well, like another thing, like don't be fooled. Like anyone, I mean, I'm speaking just from personal, but from how I see a lot of things on social, like I'm not here to promote anything and I'm not condoning anything at all. I'm just being real. And a lot of what girls kind of see, especially kind of around the figure mark upwards, they're going to be assisted in some way most of the time. Like it's a given. So if you want to look like that and you want to be competitive with it, that's also something you're going to have to think about. I mean, there's natural federations, absolutely, but if it's something that you genuinely want to consider, like people aren't born like that. Girls are not meant to be that big and that lean naturally, unfortunately. As much as we love to be.
I say that to anyone that comes to me thinking they want to compete, and because I compete with PCA, right? There's a lot of drugs in that federation because of their desired look. And everyone will say to me, what's PCA like? And they're first timers and they've not even been training that long. And I'm like, girl, chill. Go and try a fun federation first that is a little bit more healthy, fitness model type, or do a natural federation that is tested before you even know if you like competing. And then if you want to go down that road, that's your prerogative, you know, but you need to be prepared. If you're going to compete in PCA and you're natural, most of the time you're not going to do very well. Don't get me wrong, there are girls that are natural that smash it, but they're very genetically disposed to the sport, right? Like I did hear a funny Jodie, I think Jodie might have told me, someone has been on social media saying if girls eat a lot in the off season, they're definitely taking stuff.
No,
if they can stay small. I'm like, bitch, I'm skinny, but I'm a pig. Does that mean that I'm on steroids in the off season?
It's all the trend you're taking, though. That's just
there's so much crap out there, and I think it's just really important to just have an open dialogue with your coach. Ask your friends that compete. You know, we're all very honest with each other. We talk about this stuff, and just educate yourself before you go down any avenue. I think even not even aside from drugs, the kind of dieting approach that you want to take. Educate yourself. Like, are you able to stick to a meal plan? You should try and diet before a prep to see that. Do you want a flexible diet
for 6 weeks?
Yeah, like I flexible diet for most of my prep, but then I go onto a meal plan because I can't have food in my mind, you know, like I'm too stressed, I'm too tired, it's easier. A lot of girls can't do that, so then there's no point going with my coach, because my coach is a macro coach, you know, generally. Whereas I couldn't prep with your coach because it's bro, and that doesn't suit my lifestyle. So it's like there is a lot to think about before you even choose your coach.
There's a lot of variables.
You just have to ask people, right? Everyone's happy to help generally. We love talking about ourselves and our own prep.
100%. All the time. But it's like in all seriousness, especially things with like dieting, even like peds and stuff, like it's a lot of it, people keep everything secret. Like it's all one big secret of my prep. I can't tell you what I do on peak week. God no. Like that would give away all my secret stuff. But it's not like that anymore. And it's all about educating people, which is why I'm relatively open with things like steroids and stuff, because if I can stop someone making a terrible decision by being honest about what I do, or vice versa, like that makes my day, like that will make me feel good. Like I can't sit there and lie to social media and say to everyone I'm natural, because I'm not. I don't look natural. If I like, it's just I can't, like there's no way to even try and justify it. But like it doesn't mean I take steroids all year round, because I haven't been on for ages. But it's like you say, it's educating people to, or even guiding them to the right direction. Like I by no means know a lot. I know enough, but I would never ever trust anyone with expertise that I give them. I put them into contact with someone else and just say like legit, like if you have any questions, like diet, training, whatever it is,
speak to that person.
Like I suggest you speak to this person because they know a bit more about what you want. I can help you, I can advise you, but this person or this person, they, like you say, like your coach, my coach, they're specific. And just don't be fooled by what a lot of people do on social media as well, because a lot of it is a massive lie. Do
you know, when I'm prepping, I don't even really, like, I don't scroll, you know, like I just speak to my friends, but to be honest, I only really follow my friends now. But I just keep myself in my lane and I keep ticking my boxes and bringing my best to competition, because that's all you can do. It's such a subjective sport that you can't just look and say, okay, I've done exactly what I need to look like that. It's like you just have to bring your best version of you. And work with your coach to build that version before you turn up, and then hope to God you're what the judges are looking for that day.
And that's definitely something to kind of reiterate to everyone. It is a subjective sport. You can have the best physique on stage by a mile. You can have the best posing on stage. But if that judge doesn't like you, they're going to bring someone else in. You're going to have to just accept that that's how it is. Some days you win, some days you lose. You could literally win one day and lose the next week. And it doesn't mean you're shit. It doesn't mean that you're a terrible bodybuilder. It doesn't mean you've got fat, you've carved up too much, or you've spilled over. It just means that they just don't like, or they don't prefer your look on the day. So if you want to compete to win and be competitive, you have to understand that there will be setbacks. There will be times when you won't win. And that doesn't have to be the be all and end all of life. And I'm going to quit bodybuilding and retire because my life's shit now. I'm a terrible bodybuilder. It's just the way it is. And I think a lot of people kind of go into it going, I've won 2 shows. I should either be pro or I should just keep winning. And it's honestly, it's not the way.
Doesn't work like that, right? But there's personal growth comes out of disappointment as well.
And use it, like, don't be, again, jealousy. That's another thing that, like, everyone, like, a lot of girls, especially in, like, I don't know the bikini world so much because I follow a select handful of bikini girls, but I don't follow it that much. But I know in the figure world, like, most people are lovely. But you do get some people that get really like bitter, and I'm just like, why? Like, I get it, like we're all competitive, I get you want to win, but like everyone's in the same boat, man. Like everyone has to bend over backwards to look a certain way. Like we're all in this together. Like why would you be jealous? So again, you're going to get a lot of hate in that kind of retrospect as well, but just shut that shit out.
Well, we've only got 30 seconds left and it's going to cut us off. I knew this one was going to fly by. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. I've had such a good time
watching. I will tag Scarlett in my story so you guys can follow her because she is awesome
and crazy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, love.
Bye.
Take care, lovely. See you later, everyone.